Hello viewers, today I am going to discuss two things here: assignments and variables. These things are important in programming. Now, as math variables, we see there are math variables like the name x, y, z, and anything known as variables in mathematics. Now, in programming, same concept will be used, but the prospect will be different. For example, now the role of RAM comes in. When we are going to write a program, everything executed in program stores on RAM, random access memory. Now the variables are directly connected to the RAM. These variables store on RAM and executed from there. I'm going to talk about some variables and their names, types. For example, there are main three kinds of variables: int, integer, float, and the third one is character. Anything, any number without floating point, without dot, for example 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 11 will be included in this category, and anything with the point, for example 5.09, 5.07, 5.8, 3.14, these are all included in floating type. And the character, any character, anything, and the things like that, any single character will be include this data type. These are main three data types in programming. These data types in programming are mainly being executed. I will discuss these in details. As for example, I'm going to start here. For example, I need to store a value which is 5. I told you before, this will include in a integer data type. For example, there is another number 7.19. This will include in a float variable type, float data type. And here something like s, x, a, one of them will be stored in char or character type. So these are the main data types in programming. Now I am going to talk about these things. For example, I have a program here. I'm writing complete code, public class. I'm giving here a name, static void main string. Sorry about inconvenience. I'm going to show you here. See here, and now I am going to start my program. For example, I have here system dot out dot println. I'm writing here sum of, and I'm ending here this way. And now I am going here again, sum of 5 system dot out dot println 5, and I'm going here 20. I'm going here to write another statement, println is 25. Here you can see there is concatenation. I don't think I told it before. I'm going to tell you again. Concatenation in string. For example, there we have a string as we written here sum of. Now I want to add here a number like 5. I added here 5 in this string, so I need to write here 5 in this way. I can write here also 5. The meaning, the purpose, the work will be same, but I am going to write here 5 because I need to tell you something. This addition is known as concatenation of strings. For example, I'm going to write here as my name is I'm writing here. These both strings are concatenated, means they are same. Now for example, the result of this statement, when this will be put in system dot out dot println, this will give us a result of as my name is Khalid. This is a concatenation. Now I was telling you here, the result of this will be as sum of 5, a new line will start it, and 20, and is 25. Now there nothing is performed mathematically, so I can write here, and I'm going to replace this one. So I have concatenated this. I'm writing here this statement. For example, after println, I was writing is I have concatenated. Am I writing here 20 plus 5? The result will be same as was before, is 25. Now what is the meaning and the purpose of all this thing? I am going to conclude it here in this way as. Now first we written that sum of 5 and 20 is 25. Then we proceed this in this way, and the result was same. Now I am going to tell you that why we need assign variables. Now what we will do, we will store this one in a RAM in a variable. For example, here is a variable, I have a variable here with the name X, and here variable with the name Y. These are two spaces in RAM created. I created two variables with the name X and Y and here is 5 and here is 20. These are stored. Now I can add them and by saying this one, x plus y. The result will be stored in some variable else, for example z. So the result, the addition processor will perform addition of these two variables and will store it to the new variable with the name z. So how we will perform this in our programming? Now I am going to tell you here we have three type variables. Integer variable type, it will be known as int, and the second one is float, written as, and the third one is char, character. So here now I am going to discuss about the declaration. I can discuss it here. Declaration of variable. Declaration of variable. For example, I am going to declare a variable. For example, I want to create a variable. I will write it as int if it is integer type. I have written it int x. In RAM, a variable, a place will be created. Now I am going to discuss the size of it in bytes. So the size of this one, this int, is 32 bits, means 4 byte. Okay, this will take a place in RAM of 32 bits and will create a variable. Simply this statement is doing this one. I'm going to show you here in front. In RAM, one variable is created. Now I want to create another variable. I am creating it as float y. So what will happen in RAM? RAM will create another y place. So now I want to give them, I want to create another variable with the same data type as float, and I am giving it a name of z. So here in RAM again z is created, and the size of these all is 4 bytes, sorry, 32 bit 4 byte. Here is also 4 byte. So now when these things are created in RAM, now I am going to assignment. This was declaration. What will happen in assignment? Simply I am going to put here in the mathematical rule x assign 5 according to this one, and this I have closed this. Now what happened when this program will run? It will simply put 5 in x as here. Now I am going to write here 20.0. This what happened? This value will be assigned to the left side variable of equal sign. This sign, this is known as in programming assignment sign. This is assignment sign in programming. So here we got 20.0. So I want to perform another process like Z. I'm going to discuss here about the I'm writing here x plus y. I'm closing this one. So what will happen? This will add these two things, x and y, and put them to the z, and the result in the z will be as 25.0. So I am going to tell you one more thing, that how I will get the result of this z. As I written it before in my page, before that simply we are writing here plus and something here. This is a constant, this can be a variable. The purpose was to write it concat it. I was not writing here sum of 5. I can write it, but the purpose of showing this was to show you how we will put variables in print method. So I am going to getting the output of this. Print. I'm going to write here. I'm not going to write here anything, but I can write, for example, I'm going to write here only z. This will give me the result of the sum of these two things, but I can write here also as sum, and I concatenate here z variable. Another way to write this thing was can be a proper method, like I'm going to show you here. For example, I'm writing this statement. For example, I'm writing here sum of, I'm concatenating here x, this variable. I'm going to concatenate again, and I'm going to concatenate here. I'm moving to downward here. I'm going to concatenate with this one again, y variable, and with this one again. The sum of x and y is, what is it? Is z. Now what will this statement perform? This statement will give us output sum of, as in this sum of here x 5. It will collect the value of x from the RAM and put it here, and again this one same y. Now there is concatenation of y. Y will be concatenated here with this value 20.0 and is this one, and there will be z concatenated like 25.0. You can see here these results. Now I am going to discuss these. These was simple. The size was, this one was 4 byte, this one was 4 byte, this one was 4 byte. Now I am going to discuss about the short things, how I can short this size, how can I long this size according to the requirement, according to the limit. When we have less data than this one, what we will do, we will simply convert it to the short. The size of this one will be changed to the 2 bytes. Now I can short this even more with the byte. These are variables, sorry about that. Byte, this has 1 byte size, and if I need one more time longer data, then I can write here these are variable types are data types. So I can write here, and I want to discuss, okay, this has 2 bytes, this has 1 byte, and here is long, and this has 8 bytes. Now what about this? This float data type has only one type float and other type double. This is 8 bytes. And char has only a char type and the string type. String is not the part of data type char, but string is used to store many number of characters. So I'm including it here. Many number of characters. So I'm going to write here a program to discuss it as how this will work. I'm going to write here public class sum public static void going to start it. Now I'm going to initialize variables int a, b, c. I'm going to show you here in RAM 3 variables are created with these names. What are the names? Names are a, b, and c. Now what about, now I'm going to give value to these. I'm going to give 20 a, b 30. Now I'm going to give a value c as a plus b. So I'm going to print out this everything, system.out.println. I'm going to print only c. Okay, so to avoid this statement, I can also, if I don't need further in program the value of c, so I can write here, I'm going to write a statement to replace this statement if I don't need this one further in my programming. So I will write only that .out.println a plus b simply in print method. So this will give me the same result as in C as here. So I'm going to tell you this will store here, this will store here, and the sum of these will store here. So You can see the comparison between these two statements now, and you can see here the declaration in one line. So now I am going to declaration and assignment in one line. This can be replaced as, for example, here I can, if I want to skip this line, I can put here int a is equal to 20. This is same thing as here is declaration, here is assignment. Int b, here is declaration, here is assignment, and int c. You can see here the difference of between these statements. I'm going to close this program. So you saw the difference between these things, and now I want to say okay, we will discuss things later. Mail me and subscribe my channel for more. Thank you very much.